Hi, I'm Jane, and today we are going to talk about how to raise your credit score fast. All right. So, why is this important? Because our credit scores determine what we pay for things. Okay. Um, it's going to determine the interest rate that you're being charged. And ideally, it's 0% interest, which is awesome, right? Or it's going to be a really low interest rate. So, that's why having a better or good credit score makes sense. Right? So, how do we do that? I think what a lot of people don't know, maybe, is that credit scores can drop really fast, but on that same token, credit scores can rise pretty darn fast. So, that's good news, right? If your score is less than perfect or, in the 500s or wherever it is, okay? It can actually rise pretty fast. So, the key is first, you have to know what on earth is reporting on your credit, okay? So you go to freecreditreport.com, all right? And you get a copy, and you can literally get it for free. I'm not against credit monitoring services. Like, I don't personally use one, and I'm not against them. But I think, and if using one has helped you tremendously because you had a specific situation, then that is great. But I think a majority of people might be paying for a service that's kind of unnecessary, right? Because you can monitor your own credit by just pulling it every single year. They let you do that, and it doesn't affect your score to pull it to see what's reporting on there. So the most common reasons for having a score, let's say between 600 and 700. Okay, so it's not like really, really low, but it's not really, really high. It's kind of in the middle. It's high utilization. So what does that mean, right? High utilization means the most common times I've seen it is, let's say you have one or two credit cards, okay? And let's say your total credit line, the total available credit that you have is $10,000 and you're using $6,000 of that. Like, that tends to be your balance is $6,000, all right? So that means you're using 60% of your available credit. And the great credit gods, they don't like that. Okay, it looks like you're getting close to maxing out your credit because you're using 60%. So they want you to be at 30% or less. So literally, okay, you can just open up another card. Like, you can just open up another credit card. It doesn't hurt your credit to open up credit cards. Okay, it really doesn't. And I'm not asking you to be irresponsible and open up another credit card and just go crazy, okay? The idea is that, let's say this third card gives you a $5,000 credit, available credit. So now total between your three cards, you have $15,000 available credit and you're still using just the $6,000, okay? So that means that now you're at 40% utilization. Your activities really haven't changed at all, but you just have a third card that shows more available credit. And then you could do that with a fourth card, right? So now let's say same situation, that you have another $5,000 available credit, and now you have $20,000, right, of available credit, and you're still doing the same activity, the 6,000. It's going to look like you need less and less credit. And so it's kind of funny, like, that's who they want to give credit to, people who look like they don't need it. So high utilization, that's going to be a reason why you're going to, your credit score isn't as high as you want it to be, okay? Ideally, you would be paying off these cards as soon as possible and not carrying the balance. And if you are struggling with higher debt on credit cards, at the end of the video, if you stick around, then I'll tell you how my husband and I paid off $80,000 in credit card debt that we accrued from the great real estate crash in 2008. All right, so that's an easy and quick way to raise your credit. Within, I'm going to say, a couple of months. Like, it really doesn't take a long time, all right? Another super common reason that your score is less than 700, right? And I'm saying 700 mostly because, honestly, over 720, it really doesn't make a difference what your credit is. I know the perfect credit score is 850, but really over 720, it's not going to give you a better interest rate. It's not going to give you lower payments. It really is just nothing more than maybe you can be a little braggy about it, right? If you have like a 790 or like an 810 or whatever. So yeah, over 720, it really doesn't matter. Okay, so another really common reason why people do have, less than 700 for their credit score is late payments. Please, please, please go on automatic payments. Even if it's just the minimum, that you just set it up so that way the minimum automatic payment is set every single time that your credit card is due, okay? Because I get it. You have a life. Like I have a life. You have a full-time job. You've got family. Like if you are alive, then you're probably just busy. And so I have had so many clients and I've looked at their credit report and they have missed payments, right? 30 days, even 60 days. And I swear like half the time they're like, I just forgot. It's not even that they didn't necessarily have any money to pay it. It's just they forgot. And so life happens, people get busy. And so because of that, if you set up those automatic minimum payments, then you'll never get a late payment, right? And so that's set up automatic minimum payments, okay? Now that being said, if you miss your payment date, right, and it's past, let's say it was due on the 15th and you made the payment on the 16th, it's not going to show up on your credit report. You have to pay a fee, like you're going to have to pay like a $35 or $39 late fee, right? So, again, the automatic minimum payments, right? But it's not actually going to show up on your credit. So if your payment is due on the 15th of the month, it doesn't show up as 30 days late until it goes another until the 15th again. So January 15th and February 15th, that's when it shows up 30 days late if you completely don't make a payment. If you set up automatic monthly payments, then I promise you your score is going to go up higher, faster, because you're not going to have any of those missed payments, okay? Another thing that you can do, well, this is a don't do, is don't close your cards, okay? I have clients all the time, they close cards because they stop using them. They're older cards and they got newer cards with maybe better rewards or better interest or whatever, and so they'll close a card. Please don't close your cards because of the fact that it reduces your credit history, right? So you don't want to necessarily close cards because maybe your oldest card is a card that you don't use anymore, but it's 12 years old and your other credit cards are only 7 and 5 years old. If you close that 12-year-old card, then now your credit history only looks like it's 7 years long. Does that make sense? So please don't close your cards if you can help it, all right? I did listen to one other YouTube video where she understood the principle, which is don't close your cards, but she was keeping a card open that had an annual fee, a $25 annual fee every single year. And she said, I don't want to close it because it's my oldest card. It's true, right? But you should be able to call that credit card company and usually they can downgrade your card to a card without a fee. So you're not wasting that $25 a year. And I know some people are like, but it's only $25. You can give me the $25 if you don't think it's that important, right? But you can just call the credit card company. Almost every single card that has a fee usually has a card you can downgrade to, so that way you don't have to pay the fee anymore. Now, if you are in the lower 600s or 500s, then you probably have some things that are a bit more serious on the card. So this is not a hard rule, but it's a soft rule, I guess, is the opposite, which is that if you have collections and they're over 4 years old, then don't touch them. Unless you can just pay off that collections, it's like $183 or sometimes it's even like $90 or something. Unless you can just pay it, don't touch the collections, because the older something is on your credit report, the less and less and less it actually affects your credit. A big problem that people have when they have negative things reporting on their credit is that they don't have enough positive things reporting on their credit. So what I mean by that is they have this collections thing of $3,000 that was a medical bill or something that they couldn't pay because stuff was happening with their health, right? But then they don't have anything positive showing to outweigh it. So if you open up a credit card and you know, buy a tank of gas or whatever and pay it off every single month, then it's going to start to more positive, like that's going to have more weight than the negative thing that's showing up on your card. Does that make sense? My hand motions. All right. Maybe you're thinking my credit is too low, I can't even apply for a card. Then if that's the case, then go to a credit union, deposit $500 in there, and open a secure card. When you do that, you confirm with the person at the bank that this is going to report on your credit. But if you do that, you open a secure card, then basically your credit limit is how much is in your checking account. So it acts just like a debit card, except it's actually reporting on your credit. And again, it's going to start to outweigh, it's going to start to have a more positive effect on your credit. And do that with 2 or 3 or 4 secure cards, because this is going to be more things reporting on your credit to outweigh that collections or that whatever else is on there. Okay. All right. So if you have decent credit, okay, so this is decent credit, meaning that you're getting credit card offers in the mail, you know, things like that. If you have decent credit, but you have $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 or more, like us, $80,000 in credit card debt, then I'm going to share with you how my husband and I paid off all of our debt. You know, it wasn't easy, but, you know, I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so credit cards have high interest, right? Like really, really high interest, 29% interest sometimes, right? And so it can be incredibly discouraging to make a $300 payment towards the card and have $140 go to interest and only $160 go to pay off the balance, right? It just feels like you're just not making that much progress. And I get it. Like I was there, you know. So if you have decent credit, then you're probably getting a ton of credit card offers in the mail. And if you're like most people, you just rip them up and throw them away, right? You don't even look at them because you're thinking, I already have all this debt, you know, I don't need another credit card. And I get that. That's being responsible, right? But if you have decent credit, then what we did was I would open up a credit card. I would look for the offers that was offering me 0% interest on balance transfers for 12 months, for 18 months. The lowest is usually 9 months and the longest is usually 18 months. I would open up credit cards and with the 0% offers, and I would balance transfer chunks of that 80,000 onto the credit cards. That were 0%. And you do have to pay, usually it's like a 3% balance transfer fee, but 3% compared to 24%, 19% compounded daily is a huge difference, right? And so as I would open up these cards and we would balance transfer the money on there, I was still paying as much as I could on the cards that were still accruing interest, but then I would get another offer and I'd move another chunk there. And basically, it finally reached a point where all 80,000 was on a 0% card, right? And then we just started paying as much as we could onto the cards every single week, every single month. And if I couldn't pay down a card in time when the 0% offer was over, then I opened up another card and then I balance transferred the rest of it onto that 0%. So it is kind of like a game, but it will help you achieve your goals so much faster because you are not accruing all this interest and it won't be working against you, if that makes sense. So it wasn't magic, and it did take some time, but it does work. So if that can help you, or I'm asking you to be responsible and not open up 0% cards and just buy a bunch of stuff, right? But if that can help you in your financial journey, then I hope it does, right? I hope this video helps add to you and speed up your financial literacy, your financial journey to independence. Thanks so much.